Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Pour. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Anthony in his spring collection shirt.
Yeah,
how are you doing
baby?
today, sir?
Feeling good, feeling the spring. The allergies thick in the air, Brian.
Yeah, the allergies, it's unbelievable. I know there's a high pollen count.
Oh, every year that pollen count is higher. It's going to be a bad time, whatever. It's all right. It'll pass.
And I'm kind of calling myself out here. Like, I almost feel delusional in a sense, but I guess I just always think about how growing up, like, I never had any allergies or anything. So to me, it just comes as such a surprise. Like, why is this bothering me now? Like, I don't get it, but I know just part of the normal cycle, Tony.
Does it bother you?
Yeah. Recently, just a lot of mucus, slight cough here and there.
But you didn't have it when you were younger.
No,
Really?
nothing. Like literally nothing bothered me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks, dude.
Yeah. But you deal with it
Yeah,
as best you can.
Allergy pills?
I've done it before, but I feel
Try
like you're the
not to.
same way. Like, talk about nothing.
Yeah.
Like we just don't want to take anything.
Yeah, don't want to take anything. Don't want to rely on it, dude.
Yeah, not even
Like,
Advil.
Just
I
get
don't
over it, dude.
want
Yeah,
it.
no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Not for me.
And I know Matthew is the same way. And speaking
Yeah.
of Matthew, I believe he had a couple pre-show comments.
Oh, yeah, as he typically does. He says, the best sports show on the planet. And then to continue the LeBron fade, look at LeBron's stupid face.
So that's something we're gonna get to. And I was talking to Tony before the show. Love you, bud, but you're a little off with the LeBron takes. But you and Michael, and I guess Tony to a sense. But my mother chimes in. You're getting old, Brian.
Brian.
Oh, wow. A little bit of a shot fired there.
I
Tony,
know.
right?
That's tough one, dude.
I guess hey, I was kind of firing the shot about LeBron, so I guess that's
true.
That's
true.
just what I get.
Your mom a LeBron fan or doesn't really care?
She's Providence basketball, Tony, not NBA, and of course Yankees the priority, but we already know that. And obviously we're going to talk about the Yankees. We're going to talk about the Mets. We'll of course talk about the playing games last night in the NBA, NHL regular season winding down. One more comment here, Tony.
Oh wow, we do have another one flowing in here from Matthew again. Brian, he says, "We know." Dude.
Like I said, we'll get to it in a second. I'm trying to just calm down, before I talk about it. But actually, let's start now. If you could just, we're not our setup here, but
the golf,
just mentally, Tony. If we could go to the golf course,
wow, dude, yeah. I'm there right now. What do we got, dude?
But we talked. I mean, Monday's show was great, and obviously Thursday and Friday as well. Just so much golf talk recently. Talking about us getting our outing together, and of course the Masters on Sunday was unbelievable. So the PGA Tour back in action this week, Hilton Head, South Carolina. We have the RBC Heritage Golf Tournament, and this has actually been around for 55 years. So a long-standing tradition at the Harbortown Links there. And we have a full field, probably the strongest field in the history of the PGA Tour. Renee coming in hot with the tie-dye, SHU.
Big tie-dye day.
You and Tony have to take a picture, I think.
Maybe.
But, so strongest field probably ever. Really the only big name not in the field is Rory McIlroy, and we're not sure if there's some type of injury or it's strictly fatigue, because supposedly he could lose up to $2 million as part of the player impact program. With these designated events solely for this year, it was required that all the golfers had to attend all of the events other than one, and he skipped the season opening elevated event at Kapalua in Hawaii for the Century Tournament of Champions. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye out for. But as far as who's playing in this one and who the favorites are, really all the big names you can imagine. John Rahm, Patrick Cantley, Cameron Young, Colin Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler, Matt Fitzpatrick, Victor Hovland, Sungjae Im, last year's champion Jordan Spieth, Matt Kuchar, Russell Henley, JT Poston, Shane Lowry, Sam Burns, Corey Connors,
Wow.
who won at the Valero, obviously, the week before the Masters, as well as Max Homa, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, and how about Jim Furyk, who shot a 59 at the opening round of the Travelers Championship way back when. Obviously, more on the senior tour now, but is a former U.S. Open champion. So good to see him in the field this week. I believe Luke Donald as well, the Ryder Cup captain. So many different places to go. And I had mentioned this earlier in the week when we were talking about this course, this tournament, how it plays out. And the big thing that you're rewarded here is accuracy in short game, which really applies everywhere. And we know that from playing ourselves, just how important it is. I mean, you can flub your tee shots, but if you are able to get up and down, you're going to make a lot of pars, a lot of birdies, and put up pretty good scores. And typically, that's what the champion has done here. And of course, you think about Jordan Spieth over the years, the bunker shots that he's holed in, the long putts that he's made. How about the 9 birdies that he made Sunday at Augusta National? But just consistency's been a problem. But then, you think about a tournament here, you feel like even though it is an elevated event, you're coming from Augusta National, so the pressure should be dialed down. So when I look at these tournaments, I almost always, rule out the defending champion, just because how often do we see somebody win back-to-back?
Wow.
Somewhere, but obviously we've seen Scotty Scheffler do it this year. And I mean, how could this not set up well for Jordan Spieth? The concern will be the driving accuracy. We definitely saw him scrambling the first few rounds at Augusta off the tee. But I think, here being, 7,100 yards, I said, they reward accuracy, not distance. So maybe Jordan will tee off with some hybrids, some 3-woods, and kind of limit how many times he brings out the driver. So I think that should bode well for him. But I do think that this is going to be a highly contested event here with all of the talent. And it's kind of interesting too. I always get it's always so tough to gauge, Tony, like when you're coming off, let's say John Rahm, for instance, him playing back-to-back weeks, all of the emotion of winning the Masters. It's like, even though, you look at the field and you think of him as, he's world number 1. So you think of him obviously of the best, but you have to feel like that's taken some type of toll. And, not to say that he won't have a decent tournament, but hard to think that, he can follow up a Masters win with a win here at RBC. But it's just kind of interesting, kind of tough to gauge for sure. But he has been the model of consistency this season. And if you look at historically at Harbor Town, we've had mostly tight tournaments. We had a playoff last year. Stuart Sink did run away with it in 2021. Had some good weather that week. A 4-stroke victory at 19 under par. But Webb Simpson won by 1. Pan Chung Sung won by 1. There was a playoff in 2018 with Kim Si Woo and Satoshi Kadara. A 1-stroke victory for Wesley Bryant. A 2-stroke victory for Brandon Grace. A playoff with Jim Furyk. A 1-stroke victory for Matt Kuchar. And a playoff with Graham McDowell. So that goes back 10 years, Tony. And obviously a common theme there. Playoffs, 1 stroke. So I think that just shows how highly contested this will be in terms of, how the players fare here. You had 13 under 1 last year, 19 under 1 in 2021, 22 under by Webb Simpson, which I believe is a course record of 262. And then you had 2 straight years of 12 under, a 13 under, a 9 under, an 18 under, 11 under, 9 under, and 14 under. So scoring has been up and down. I think the consistent thing is they are reaching double digits. So it's not like the winner of this one will be 2 under par, 3 under par. Matthew, I guess, is a Jim Furyk fan, Tony. Mr. Furyk.
Mr. Furyk. And you think he really is? He just likes the name.
Kind of, probably likes the name, but, a legend, been on tour a while, bless you. And just has
Thank you.
had one of the more consistent swings on the PGA Tour. And is a two-time champion here at Harbour Town, last winning in 2015 in a playoff over Kevin Kisner. So, a lot of information to digest. I think the one thing that all of us golf fans can agree on, that this is as good as you're going to get the week following a major championship, just to have all these big names here and everybody staying in the field. I mean, we obviously know about Will Zalatoris' season-ending back injury, but other than him and Rory, everybody else is pretty much here. I guess actually Jason Day did withdraw as well. Started out great at Augusta. I think, halfway through was in the top 5 and then really struggled. I think an 80 in the final round. So he probably just wants to reset here with the time in between now and the PGA Championship, a tournament that he's won before. So a long-winded way, Tony, of saying, with all of that considered, have you kind of selected one golfer? Has research been done here? I'm very interested to see where you're gonna go.
Who would you say was the returning champ of this tournament? Jordan Spieth. Okay. Well, I don't know. Part of me at first wanted to take Shane Lowry, the Irishman.
Good short game.
Great short game, but I don't know if he can really consistently just hold that great short game right for a whole tournament. And then I was thinking about Tony Finau. I know, he's pretty well known for his tremendous work on the irons. He's very active, very consistent there. We've seen how his putting game can kind of have some highs and lows, but when he's on top of his putts, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal, the putts he's made, everything like that. But and I want to say, I know leading up to the Masters, Tony Finau had 9 straight top 25 finishes. I forget where he finished after the Masters. It wasn't top 25 though.
I know he was up there. Yeah, I'd have to take a look at that.
But I think I'm going to go with Finau.
Okay.
Just because I trust his iron work, and like I said, I feel like if he's on the putt game, I mean, I feel like it's going to be a really hard guy to match. Your whole spiel about maybe having some difficulty off the tee can be kind of counteracted by accuracy, off the fairway and stuff like that. So
precision.
Yeah, give me Finau. Let's do it, dude. Tony
Finau, always been one of my favorites. And I forgot, Tony, you said you watched some of Full Swing, like an episode or two.
Literally an episode, and I haven't gotten back.
And that was just the first one with JT and Jordan?
Yeah. Which was sick, dude.
Let's get you back out there, bud.
I know, dude. I literally I actually really want to rewatch. Sorry, excuse me. What? Oh, Renee was paper towels making a mess. I really wanted to get back into it because again, the first episode was so I just didn't know how many storylines were underlying, right? Because they played in college together, right? Or against each other in college, or against each other in high school, or something like that. But yeah, talking a lifelong kind of rivalry here, and then continuing in the PGA Tour is absolutely ridiculous. So I mean, I just feel with each episode and different storylines and learning more about the game. I mean, it was dope, very well made. So I want to get back into it.
Yeah, and it was nice to see Tony Finau break through. He had originally won the Puerto Rico Open. I want to say it was in 2016. Okay, so yeah, it was 2016, and then he went 4 years without winning a tournament before winning the Northern Trust in 2021, the Rocket Mortgage Classic last season, and then the Candace Bank Houston Open this season, part of the fall schedule. So he's up to 4 wins, and he's had 10 runner-up finishes, 57 top 10 finishes. Just curious, Tony, what is that set I'm getting right now? It smells like something's burning. You smell it?
I know Renee, I think, was heating something up. So I
don't know. Oh, but it's not even on. That's weird. I was thinking when I don't know why I'm thinking she went somewhere else to warm it up, but obviously we have a microwave right there. Hopefully we don't need to evacuate, Tony. No, doesn't it smell like burnt wax or something? But yeah, while Tony's checking this out, I've always been a big Tony Finau fan, and obviously we've seen over the past couple of years, that he's been able to finally win. Obviously the major championship, the next thing. No major championship this week, of course, but nevertheless a good tournament. So I think, Tony, that is a very good pick from you. I definitely really like it. And it's funny, I'm kind of going against, what I had said in the open regarding this tournament and people going back to back. But I actually am going to go with Jordan. I just think it's his course. And I just think he is really motivated
Wow.
after showing the world, when he's making 9 birdies on Sunday at Augusta, that, he is back. He's one of the top golfers in the world, and he just needs to get that taste of winning a tournament, winning a big tournament. And obviously this would be a stepping stone. So, let's go with Jordan Spieth to win this. And one other thing, and we kind of started on this last week with the Masters, and I know I'm kind of throwing you a curveball, Tony.
Oh,
And
geez.
I'm doing just some quick research myself here just to take a look at the exact field. But if you could give me a top 10 sleeper.
I guess I'll go with Lowry at that point. I mean, he was kind of someone who I was teetering on choosing to win this tournament. Mentioned the consistency that he can have. Give me Shane Lowry, dude. Let's do it.
All right.
Shane Lowry.
So we're gonna go with Lowry there.
You said top 10?
Yeah, top 10.
Okay, yeah, I'm confident in that.
And there's a couple guys, some old time golfers here. We got Ernie Els and Zach Johnson in the field. I mentioned Jim Furyk as well.
I mean, how you not go with Furyk after that whole thing, dude?
I basically am gonna go with
just pick Rahm and get it over with, dude.
I basically am gonna go with Furyk. I'm gonna go with Furyk as the top 10, which would be, at 52 years old, that's definitely a surprise. That's for sure. Yeah, so we'll go Furyk top 10, and then you are gonna go Lowry top 10.
Definitely, dude.
I think though this is gonna be a lot of fun. Excited to give our first leaderboard update tomorrow.
Yeah, me too, dude.
It's always good, the East Coast tournaments. I mean, they get a decent amount of the round in when we're playing out west. I mean, when we're on the air, maybe a couple of groups go off, but that's it. But you're playing a good amount of holes. I believe we have another comment here, and I'm not sure who this is.
OAGCT, I believe this is definitely one of my students, and he commented before, and I didn't know who it was because of the name, and they definitely mentioned it to me in class, and I still forget who it was. But he wants to know if you think the Live Golf Tour will survive.
No.
Really?
And I've been kind of consistent on this. But the whole thing is, and everybody I talk to about this too, the one thing that they cite is, that group, they have so much money. I hear that over and over and over again. But I just think no matter who you are, no matter how much money you have, if you are just, you're bringing in no revenue, eventually you're going to get to a point where you're like, why am I doing this again? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know, there's obviously a bunch of different theories out there, but just, the general consensus was that, Saudi Arabia themselves was doing this and having this tour with these collection of talented golfers to kind of be looked at a better light. And I don't think that's been accomplished at all.
No, I don't think so either. And I don't know. I feel like you can also go to say, as far as some golfers who joined Live Tour almost have a little bit of regret.
Brooks.
Yeah.
He definitely does.
He
already alluded to that before the Masters. You know what I mean? So after he's showing that he can compete now, he loved being in the limelight, having the big crowds. And we all know you just don't have that with Live. And
right.
It is kind of funny that, their slogan is golf, but louder. But it's like, how could you be loud if nobody's there?
I know, dude. The CW, dude.
Yeah, the CW. And I actually forgot to mention this. And another time we'll have to pull it up. It probably would take too long to get. But I guess Jim Nance, when Brooks was leaving Augusta, had a little slight. I don't know if you heard it.
I think I heard of it.
Okay.
I don't know what he said.
Yeah. So there was some crosswalk, and he goes, and Brooks heads to the CW, like as he was leaving Augusta.
Oh my gosh.
The crosswalk, but obviously, a slight at the CW. But
that's hilarious.
I really think, because I get it. A lot of people like to say, people who are covering golf, that everybody's out for Live and just that they're supporting the PGA Tour. And like, I just look at it from afar, especially being in the mind of a player, being a golfer myself, and obviously nowhere near the level of these guys we're talking about. But I'm saying I definitely would not like the fact that, despite getting all this money, we're all competitors inside.
Right.
So, I just feel like the difference that I would feel, it would feel like I was going, from the PGA Tour to playing high school golf. That's what it would
Yeah.
feel like. You know what I mean? No roars in the
Yeah.
crowd, no
Right.
lines on each side of the tee box. I would hate that.
Basically, like from playing hockey at the Garden to like Arizona State.
Right. Right. So
Now the Live Tour golfers, they're under a contract, right? Do you know like any details of like Koepka's, like how many years they're attached to the
but
Live
for
Tour
some
or
reason, I
anything like
think
that?
it's 5 years if I had to guess.
Do you think like 5 years? I mean, 5 years, I guess in hindsight isn't a long time, but I'm sure for something like, a golf league, it's a decent amount of time to build yourself up. But do you think like after these contracts are done for a lot of these, former PGA players, like, do you think there's just like a mass exodus and it's like the Live Tour thing was a whole experiment that's over at that point?
It's really tough because Commissioner Jay Monahan has been very strong in terms of saying, once these guys leave, we're not going to let them back, and that's it, and hasn't wavered. But my whole thing is, I think he says that in an effort to, prevent any other golfers from going to Live. But once Live ceases to exist, what would be the motivation of the tour from blocking talented golfers to be back on the tour, other than spite?
Other than like, setting an example.
But I mean, I think, he won't admit it publicly, but I know that Jay Monahan knows deep down that if they could get Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau back, it would be good for the tour. It wouldn't be a negative thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It'd be interesting to see kind of what pans out. So
yeah, and I'm sure we'll see some of that on season 2 of Full Swing.
Yeah.
So you have some catching up to do, sir.
I know it's season 2. We got a date for that, dude?
I don't think we have a date yet. But I know we talked about this. Okay, we'll see if we get a date on there.
Oh yeah, renewed season 2. I'm just working on it.
Okay, so
2024 at some point.
2024. But we will have to do something with screen time in Full Swing. We'll have to figure it out. But I think that would be a good time. Manny hasn't watched any of the episodes.
No.
Jay?
I don't think Jay has, but I definitely could probably get Jay to watch it with me.
Okay.
Like definitely.
Yeah. So we'll iron out those details for sure. But I'm excited for the RBC. I think it's going to be a great tournament. It's a beautiful course. Anytime you have a course right by the water, you get the lighthouses in the background. I mean, it just really makes for a nice backdrop. So I'm really, really amped up for that. And just to see, who's going to win this thing, I think, it's definitely wide open. I'd love to see Jordan repeat. We'll see if he can get the job done.
Very interesting.
But for now, Tony, let's go to the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Stop it, Tony. Yep. And Alonso cracks one in the Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Throw deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right, Tony. So a good night for the New York Yankees. And we do have a comment from, Prefer. Look different.
Oh, wow. He was so happy. Oh, we have a comment. Oh, it's from Prefer.
Well, it just looked different. Plus, Prefer, I was watching back yesterday's episode. I think I just wasn't like paying fully attention to it, but he was back to his picks are the opposite of mine. Ha 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 ha. For the baseball pick. So I just had to mention that. But long-winded way, Tony, of saying anyway.
Very long-winded today.
With like I mentioned yesterday, like they've done all season, a bounce back win. In this game, 11-2 was the final score. So obviously, a big margin there. But it didn't start out the way that the Yankees were expecting. And the big reason why I think Cole had let off a leadoff single, and then Glaber had a chance at a double play ball, but a bad hop resulted in the ball going over his head into the outfield, and it resulted in the Cleveland Guardians scoring 2 runs. The Jose Ramirez double and the Josh Naylor sac fly, but obviously giving teams extra outs. That's just obviously bound to happen. But fortunately for the Yankees, Cole settled down after that. And they were able to tack on a couple runs. You had a Trevino single in the second, scoring Oswaldo Cabrera. Willie Calhoun, who was the star of spring training, has earned a roster spot. Was able to single in DJ LeMahieu, so that tied the game at 2. And then Oswaldo Cabrera with a sac fly to make it 3-2, scoring Anthony Rizzo. So 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. And Frenchie Cordero, Tony, has kind of become, very early on, of course, but has become this year's version of Matt Carpenter, with a 3-1 bomb to right field, 368, scoring Torres and Calhoun, made it 6-2. And that really sealed the deal for the Yankees. Cole settled down, ended up giving him 7 innings, didn't, give up any more runs. And I believe at one point retired 14 out of 16. But they added more runs. You had a Rizzo single scoring Hicks to make it 7-2. They actually scored on a double play. Glaber hit into one, but LeMahieu scored to make it 8-2. Rizzo with another single to make it 9-2, scoring Aaron Hicks. Judge scored on a wild pitch to make it 10-2. And then they actually scored another run in the 9th on a double play, Willie Calhoun, to make it 11-2. Final lines here: Cole, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, only 3 strikeouts. So, going into this one, I was thinking double digits. And 3 is very low for Garrett Cole. We had seen him with some high strikeout numbers, the 11 in the opening day start, of course. But it didn't matter. He had different stuff in this one. And they were talking about it on the Yankee broadcast, John Flaherty, Michael Kay, that typically Cole, first inning or 2, really dominant with fastballs, pumping them in 97, 98. But he was really going big on changeup, sliders, knuckle curves early on, and different strategy, but probably just confidence with his fastball, and he developed more of that as the start went on. But I was just really refreshed to see him battle back, because we had seen him get into some trouble early in the season, and not early in the season, but early in starts last season. And for him to kind of settle down here, kind of show that he's pitching a different way. 3rd straight start to start the season without allowing the home run after, leading the majors in home runs allowed. I think that's a very big step forward. So all good from Garrett Cole, 97 pitches, 3-0 this year, 1.40. So obviously Yankees have won all 3 of his starts. Albert Abreu continues his renaissance here. He gave him 2 scoreless innings out of the pen, 33 pitches. So that was nice to see. And then, as I did with our scoring summary, very refreshing to see so many different guys contributing here. You go to the regular starters, everybody had at least 1 hit. And, in terms of multiple hits, LeMahieu had 2, Judge had 2, Rizzo had 2, and actually Aaron Hicks, believe it or not, did have 2 hits. But we're all hoping that doesn't result in him getting more playing time. But all in all, you just feel good. You took care of business. It's a quicker turnaround today. We got a 1:00 game to wrap this up before the Yankees have 4 at home against Minnesota. Obviously, I'm pumped to be there on Friday in attendance, so we'll have to look out for that. And of course, it's funny my pitchers this year. We have Cole in the first game I went to. The Sunday game was Brito, Tony, and I'm going to get Brito again on Friday.
Let's go, dude.
So
you hyped?
Yeah, I am hyped. It's just nice. He kind of he wasn't really on any of our radars until he had such a strong spring. So it's nice to see how he can develop. So all in all, you feel really good, and really, besides Brito, Abreu, Frenchie Cordero, he leads the team, Tony, with 10 RBIs. And you look at the numbers, I mean, nothing of significance, before coming over to the Yankees. And it was funny, Sterling was joking on the radio broadcast that why is he better with the Yankees? The pinstripes, all that type of stuff. But you look at it for his career. I mean, just last year, I mean, he hit 219, slugged 397 with Boston in 84 games. Here he is with the Yankees. Only 6 games, 21 at bats, but a 762 slug, 1010 OPS. So if he can play a couple times a week, hit a couple homers, it's almost like I mentioned Carpenter, or even going back a couple of years, Cam Maben, what he did when he came over to the Yankees. I believe it was the 2019 season, but had outstanding splits. And it'll be interesting to see if Cordero can pick it up. But like I said, all in all, a good victory here. The only thing that I'm a little concerned about, and we'll talk about it more when we do our game preview, Clark Schmidt on the hill for the Yankees this afternoon has not had a good start to his season. And I'm sure a lot of pressure, the way Burrito's pitching, Rodon and Severino on the rehab trail. So it'll be interesting to see
Bounce back, dude.
how he can bounce back. Yeah. I hope he bounces back. And at least opposing him, the Guardians, going with an unheralded guy here, Battenfield. I'm not quite familiar with him. But so at least you feel all right. Well, at least they're throwing somebody that's not exactly the who's who of starting pitching. And he is 25 years old. And I believe this is his major league debut. So you have to feel pretty good about that, as the Yankees will look to win what would be their 4th consecutive series to start the season. We talk about winning series, winning 2 out of 3. That would be a perfect way to cap this road trip. It would be a 4-2 road trip, which is, all you could ask for. And then Minnesota. I mean, we talk about how the Yankees have had success with Cleveland. Minnesota is really a team that they've always beaten up on. So you feel really good about that heading into, a homestand here.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, I mean, I feel like tonight you're worried about Clark Schmidt. I mean, I feel like we'll be settled down. I think he'll have a bounce back, but also, I mean, hey, your bats are hot. Last night you scored 11 runs. I mean, you were pretty solid all around the lineup. Spreading the wealth there in terms of hits. So, if Clark Schmidt is thinking, hey man, I got a good lineup behind me, I can kind of calm down a little bit. I could see him, definitely feeling some pressure from, certain pitchers coming back from injury, other pitchers doing well. He's kind of being looked to as, hey man, like you're the odd man out here almost. So I think he'll have a good night though. And I think that's really where it starts is going to be with him.
Yeah.
Today,
yeah.
I should say.
And, a good night on the plane back, afternoon game.
Yeah.
Come on, Tony. Yeah, I can't even get a little smile. That's a force. It's a forced smile there.
Come on, dude. Come on.
I don't know if you're going to be smiling about this one, but if you could enlighten us, a 4-2 defeat yesterday in Flushing.
Yeah, so pretty tough here. You mentioned David Peterson. You mentioned, I mentioned not having a whole lot of confidence. His last outing against the Brewers ran into some trouble early. I think it was something like 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 walks, 2 Ks. We know he struggled with giving up walks in the spring season. But 5 earned runs in 4 innings is not great. And I mean his pitches were just all over the place. He had really no control. And he kind of continued a little bit of that in the first inning last night. I believe he had a scenario where it was like 2 men on, with 1 out, and he had walked a batter, gave up a hit, a couple of long balls. I believe, or maybe no outs. And then I think, Lindor and Alonso turned a nice double play, and then maybe a fly out to Marte to kind of end the inning. But, you're kind of thinking like, oh man, like, Peterson was giving up a few hits early on. He looked very hittable. A couple of breaking balls were like over the middle of the plate. Location was not there. And then on top of that, you're pitching against, what was his name? Ryan Weathers.
Yeah.
A newbie, I think, second start for the Padres.
His dad was David Weathers, who pitched on Cincinnati and a couple other teams. I forget.
Yeah. And his dad was there at the game too. They showed him on camera. Right. Nice father-son moment there. And you know what, dude? Weathers was not looking good either in the first inning. Bases juiced, no outs.
And then
Alonso strikes out, and then Someone else grounds out double play. It may have been, maybe I don't know who it was. Maybe it was Escobar. Doesn't matter. But it was just tough. Again, from the first inning, you're thinking you're looking good. You struggle. Oh, I think he walked Nimmo, and then McNeil and Dor get a hit, like looking good. Like I said, Alonso just looked a little bit foolish last night. We'll get into a little bit more of it, but it started with that strikeout in the first. It was like a slider. That just kind of came in at the last second. He was under it, and it was no good. The buckling of the knee, going down on one knee is not a great look. And then of course to leave 3 men straight on base is not great either. And like I said, after the first inning though, Peterson kind of settles down a little bit. He was going to his curveball a lot and his slider. He was getting a few strikeouts. I think his final line, he had 6 Ks, I believe. He was really like an out away from a really good start. He ended up going 5 2/3, giving up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 Ks. Again, an instance where, he looked a little uneasy on that first inning. And then, I guess maybe realizing he has solid defense behind him and hitters that can get on base at least. Maybe he settled down and he had a pretty solid line. But you want to look at, some of the scoring here. There really wasn't a lot of scoring until the bottom of the fourth, where, Connor was able to hit a sac fly RBI. Weathers are still pitching here. Lindor, who was on third, was able to score. And right before this hit, I believe, Alonso gets picked off at first, looking like a fool again. He was just quite literally Weathers is looking at him and he leans to the right, like towards second. So Weathers just throws the ball and Alonso doesn't get back in time. So, again, runners at the corners, no outs. Then it's runner on third with 1 out. And then, sac fly RBI, it's 2 outs. I think Alvarez strikes out at the end of this inning. He went 0 for 4 last night with 3 Ks, I believe, 3 strikeouts. We'll get more into him a little bit. But then go to the top of the 5th. Peterson's pitching here. This is where he gets into a little bit of trouble.
Bless you.
Thank you, dude. This is where he starts looking pretty hittable. I will say Machado had an RBI double to left field. Sorry, that was a 2 RBI double. And honestly, I think it was a breaking ball, low and inside. And honestly, Machado, being the good hitter that he is, just kind of went down digging for it and pulled it, was able to get into left field with the ball, and it dropped nicely. So it was honestly just more so of a better hit from Machado than a poor pitch from Peterson. But again, at that point, the Mets having a 1-run lead, now down by 1. Peterson gets pulled. So, again, what looked like could have been, instead of, 5 2/3 with 2 earned runs, it could have been 6 innings with no earned runs, which obviously would have been better. So I don't know. I think a good bounce back start in general for Peterson, considering how he looked against Milwaukee. But then, kind of fast forward here, top of the 9th. I think it's Dennis Santana, the 26-year-old from Texas, formerly. Now he's from Texas, played for the Rangers. Not a great reliever, honestly, or closer. Really not a good guy out of the bullpen. I think his ERA last year with Texas was like over 5. And I think he had over 55 innings pitched. I think maybe he had 20-something strikeouts and 22 walks or something. So not great stuff from him, but he gives up a nice 2-run bomb to Bogarts. He hit 415 feet to left field. It was just a breaking ball kind of hanging over the plate. Bogarts snaps on it to kind of give the Padres here some extra insurance runs. At that point, 1-run lead turns to 3, just like that. So then you kind of fast forward a little bit now to the bottom of the 9th as the Mets kind of get less. Bless you.
Thank you.
I wasn't sure if that was a sneeze or a cough. And
every single person says that.
Really? Because well, it's all right, dude.
Renee wasn't confused.
No, Renee knew exactly what went down.
It didn't? Here I am looking for a lifeline.
Nothing. Leaving you hanging, dude. Anyway, dude. So bottom of the 9th here. Ironically enough, Tommy Pham, comes up big with a nice, RBI single here. Alonso was able to score. McNeil goes to second. Pham's on first now. And it was just, a little bit nice life kind of coming up here. Josh Hader was actually the pitcher, the closer here for the Padres in the bottom of the 9th. I believe he walked Alonso or maybe walked McNeil and gave him a hit to Alonso. But Josh Hader, who, again, we talked about last season and his significant decline, was not looking great. Struggled with control, looked very hittable, kind of coming out in the closer position here. And that's exactly what happened. Like he was getting hit on. Like,
You think he should just get a buzz cut? Maybe that'll
maybe
switch his
something.
fortunes?
Yeah, something has to.
But he was
haircut.
so good, Tony. Like unhittable.
Like I forget the stat. I remember being like in dockside at the start of him not doing well.
Oh
And I remember looking at Mike, and I think it was a game against the Rockies when he was still on the Brewers. And I was like, Mike, like we were looking at it was a close game. It was like a 3-2 game, something like that. And I'm like, hey, Mike, like this guy coming up right here, he's like the best closer in the whole league. And he's been like in a little bit of a slide right now, but he'll like totally bounce back. Literally, he has like a sub 1 ERA over like however many innings. Is phenomenal. And like right off the Rockies, I think walks the first batter, 2-run homer, they lose the game. And I was like, wow. And then since then, I think his ERA was like a 12.
Yeah, it was.
Like it was so like unbelievable.
You think he just needs
dude.
Matt Blake too, maybe?
Maybe Matt Blake and a haircut. That sounds good, dude.
Well, in that they go hand in hand.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we know this stuff is there. That's why it's just like it's so frustrating. But
Yeah.
we've seen it over the years. Relief pitching, just the history of it, very hard. Other than Mariano Rivera, very tough to be dominant year in and year out.
Yeah, no, it really is. But anyway, back to the Mets here, bottom of the ninth. Again, he was very hittable. I think it was like Kana and Escobar who had flyouts, but deep, like on the warning track. Like, and you're just feeling it. You're like, dude, someone's gonna hit a bomb, a nice 3-run bomb. It's gonna be a walk off, and then in comes
Francisco Alvarez. I told you.
And you're thinking like, all right, man, this guy's chance. Like Haters is looking kind of tough, dude. Like,
yeah,
strikes out. And I don't know. I think a lot of people were obviously really tight at Alvarez. I was on Twitter. You heard people calling in the Dave this morning and
over his head, not ready.
I mean, the pitch, I don't know what he was sitting on, but Hader threw him a breaking ball. And he was so behind it. Like, again, like if you're sitting breaking ball, you kind of, you're probably going to be on top of it. But like I don't know if he was hesitating, if he was nervous, but you can even see it in the replay. The ball is like almost at the plate and he hasn't started swinging yet. And it's like, oh, dude. And it was a ball too. It ended up sliding away too close to him. And he did like, like he saw it last second and did like kind of one of these and just, there was no chance for him. And I hate to say it, but I do think, you put like a more experienced batter in that batter's box. They're either going to be walked or they're getting a hit off a Hader because they just know what to do in that scenario. And I think Alvarez being 21 years old with no experience, really not much experience in the majors, specifically, against a closer like Josh Hader who has experience, be on top of his game or not. Josh Hader knows that he can get into the head of a young player. I'm sure that's exactly what he did. He used Alvarez's nerves against him, and that's what I really think led to a strikeout. And you strand McNeil on third and Pham on second after what looked like could be a nice rally, bottom of the ninth here. And it's super tough. It was a gut-wrenching loss just because I think Mets were 1 for 8 runners in scoring position. They left a lot of men on base. Tommy Pham was the only one who was able. He was 1 for 1 with runners in scoring position. Like everyone else was 0 for 2, 0 for 1. I just think that there was some, little things, like Alonso getting picked off at first, like,
bases loaded, nobody out in the first.
Bases loaded, nobody out in the first, and nothing happens. Like
that's
so tough.
That's the worst
against a youthful pitcher. Against
a fly ball.
Like, oh my God, dude. Against an experienced lineup. You should be able to work around that. Oh gosh, dude. Turn the TV on again?
Yeah, probably.
It's all right, dude. So absolute gut-wrenching loss.
Just win the series today.
For the Mets. Just win the series today. We got McGill versus Schnell. Yeah. And Blake Snell. We've seen some bright spots out of him, but I feel like early on in the season, I haven't looked at his numbers so far.
7.88.
All right.
So that would bode well, right?
That would bode well for us. Tyler McGill kind of, really
164.
Feeling good about himself and his spot in the rotation and getting that, I guess, the nod at the start of the season because of some certain person's injury. So I would expect him to have, pretty solid outing. I mean, if David Peterson can be an out of a way of no earned runs, I mean, I think McGill should do pretty well against the lineup, and hopefully, we can bring runners home.
Are you going to put your money where your mouth is?
I am. You want to go into the pick segment?
Yeah.
We'll go to the pick segment, okay? We'll go right on into the pick segment here. Give me the Mets here tonight.
Today.
Sorry, today. Yes. Always get me. Yeah, team flight, dude. The 110 game.
Wait, are they? Oh no, they're. Oh, they are
Road
gonna,
trip.
Oh no, they're heading to California, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A's.
I believe it should be Oakland first. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just double checking here. Geez, talking about Friday. I have a 9:40 game.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. I like having that option though. This way, you get home from whatever you're doing
at
and
9:40.
No, I'm saying you're home at 11 or
Just
whatever.
starting to go out, Brian.
I mean,
no, you're right. You're right. That's what
the
you're saying.
times have changed, Tony.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's see, dude. On this,
Or it's on when you're out though, too.
It's on when you're out, dude.
Yeah.
The Horseshoe. They have many TVs.
Yeah.
Put the Mets on, please. They say yes.
Sunday
thank you.
6:30.
Sunday 6:30, dude. Let's do the Horseshoe. Let's go do Sportsport. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. So tonight, hump day. Let's go 110. Mets minus 115. I mentioned the pitching matchup here. I'll tell you right now, I think Blake Snell gonna get totally popped here from the get-go. Looking like Ryan Weathers, honestly, in the first inning with runners juiced on the bases here. However, I do think, given the opportunity, maybe Pete Alonso's up at the plate again. Instead of striking out foolishly, he has a nice grand salami for his first of the year. I think fourth of his career, maybe.
Wait, who's this?
Pete Alonso.
Oh, no, okay, because you said first of the year. I'm thinking home run, but
No,
you said
first grand slam of the year, fourth of his career, I believe. 100% certain on that. But anyway, McGill, I think, used a good pitch selection, painting the corners like he's been. I mentioned against Miami, he was just absolutely hammering the upper part of the strike zone. Let's keep that strategy up and let's jam up some batters. And then, I feel like today, you can use Ottavino, Drew Smith out of the bullpen. Again, you would expect Tyler McGill to give you some depth. I'm going to say 7 innings.
Wow.
I know, for the first time this year for him. So give me the Mets winning this one. I'm going to say a nice, let's say 5-1.
5-1 here. All right. So I am gonna go, of course, with the New York Yankees, looking to win their 4th straight series to open the season, head back home for a series with the Twins, and we know how those usually go, so we feel good there. And I know Clark Schmidt, like we talked about in the open, hasn't pitched well. But give me Clark Schmidt over Peyton Battlefield, Tony, any day of the week, or Bat 10 Field. My mistake there.
Battlefield.
But guy making his debut. I'm sure the veteran Yankee hitters, will lay back and just obviously swing at the good pitches here and do some damage early. I want to say he doesn't make it out of the 4th inning. And I want to say Judge, Stanton, who had the day off, will be back in the lineup. So Judge, Stanton, and Volpe, who had the day off as well, will be back in the lineup. I want to say all 3 go deep. LeMahieu keeps doing what he's doing and picks up 4 hits. And this is actually another bloodbath. I'm going to say, and then Schmidt, 6 innings, 3 earned, 7 strikeouts. And the Yankees are going to take this one 10-3 to move to 8-4 on this young season. Head on the plane, head back to the Bronx to get ready for my appearance on Friday at Yankee Stadium.
Do they know you're coming?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Email the front office. It's Brian Barnaby. Just want to let you guys know. All right. Well, so I'll stick in the AL East. Why not? Give me the Blue Jays tonight against the Detroit Tigers. Kevin Gausman, someone who we were a little bit hard on last season, rightfully so. Certainly had some struggles, but looking at his first 2 starts this season, his first one against St. Louis was a 4-1 loss. However, 6 innings, gave up 8 hits. Stranded some runners on base when he left the game. Bullpen gave up the 3 runs, I think. Only had 1 walk, 7 Ks. Next outing against Kansas City, 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks again. So I think off to a little bit of a hot start here. I wouldn't say hot, but decent start here for the 32-year-old. And I would expect something similar to Kansas City against Detroit here tonight. So just like following that trend of his first 2 starts, give me 6 innings. Let's say 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks, no earned runs. And I think Toronto will kind of stroll their way into a nice shutout 3-0 victory.
Gossman is so interesting, and I know you know firsthand from when he was on the Braves, but he was so good with the Orioles. And then I guess was it with Atlanta that he really struggled before kind of recapturing the magic with San Francisco?
Yeah, because Atlanta is bad.
Yeah, like I don't know what that was. And I was thinking, but even towards the end in Baltimore, he was struggling. So
yeah.
it's just kind of interesting how he's one of the better pitchers. And interesting too, Alex Manoah struggled again last night. But I think he gave up 3 runs in the Jays home opener. And actually, Terry, my Canadian friend, was texting me, showing me pictures of he wasn't there, but he was just watching it. The big ceremony, they honored Fred McGriff, going into the Hall of Fame this summer. So, the Jays were able to, I think they ended up winning 9-3. So early deficit, Manoah settled down. He thinks he gets too amped up. I think he had 5 walks last night.
That makes sense.
But you would think a young, talented arm like that would be fine. I mean, the only thing you got to be concerned about is clearly pitched more innings than he ever has in his life last season. So, that next year sometimes can be a little tricky to navigate, especially early on. But I do like your thought process there going against a weak Tigers team.
Very
I think
weak.
That should be a piece of cake.
So weak.
I'm going to surprise you here. So the lone undefeated team in the league is the Tampa Rays, 11-0, fighting history here. They got Bradley on the hill. It looks like potentially making his major league debut, going against Chris Sale, who was better last time out, but obviously still struggling. And it's Taj Bradley making his major league debut. And they actually designated Ryan Yarbrough for assignment. So the longtime Ray getting released, which is interesting. But all of that being said, Tony, I think, me, I don't like picking the Red Sox, but I think just law of averages. I'm not even kidding. I didn't even read that.
That's so funny. Prefer
won't believe me.
He knows you, dude.
He does. But yeah, I think actually Sale, first of all, I think he's going to have a bad year this year, but just this start, I think he's going to stifle the Rays hitters, 6 scoreless. Red Sox 5-1. The lone unbeaten team falls, Tony.
Wow, dude. I don't know if I like that take, to be honest. I mean, I guess it kind
neither do I. I mean, but at the same time,
it sounds nice. Bradley, first time here, nerves. You never know.
So, I'm conflicted just because, I should be happy with the result just because obviously, the Rays right now leading the division, not expecting Boston to be finished anywhere but last. So give them a win here, get the Rays in the loss column. Let's keep the losing going.
I can't believe the Rays are 11-0. It's so crazy.
I know. Kevin Cash, dude.
All right, my next pick here, just kind of walking my way down here the docket. Not a lot of games I enjoy, honestly. Dude, do I just take the Phillies? Zach Wheeler has not looked great, dude.
But he is great.
Yeah, dude, let me stay away from that. I wonder how Corbin Burns pitched yesterday. I did pick the Diamondbacks. That's right. They won. Oh,
Burns actually did really good yesterday. What were you going to say?
What's our
record
here so far?
You picked up a game on me. So you're leading. Or no, we tied? Hold on. Let me see. 13. I think it's 13-13. Yeah, 13-13 because you had 2, I had 1, and you were down 1. So
wow, dude. Yeah, Corbin Burns pitched 8 innings, no earned runs. Bullpen screwed it. That's so funny.
What do you think about what Michael said?
I'm sorry. Tough to be a Mets fan today, but it's awesome to be a sports fan, he said.
And Michael, of course, we appreciating tuning in. And before we close today, we're not closing right now, but I'm just saying, to quote myself, Michael, in regards to you and Matthew's LeBron take, I'm coming for blood, Michael.
Yeah, and I guess in regards to his Mets take, I mean, now I'm coming for more blood. I'm coming for the rest of the blood. Okay.
Oh man.
But just keep it moving here quickly. I'm gonna pick against my guy Rich Hill in Pittsburgh. I'm going to take the Astros. Jose Urquidy.
Yep.
I always struggle with that name. I just think, Rich Hill here, I think it's going to be playing T-ball here for the Houston Astros. Honestly, I think it's going to get super ugly. You'll get how surprisingly good how the Astros have been actually. Pittsburgh at 7-4. And the fact that, Houston did lose last night, 7-4. Last night?
Yeah, Ryan Presley imploded.
Imploded,
Pirates,
dude.
McCutcheon back,
I know.
clubhouse guy,
So
Tony,
crazy,
still not
dude.
producing at a high level, but maybe that leadership, the young talent,
Right.
might go a long way. Pirates are 7-4, baby.
It's actually pretty crazy, but I just think against Rich Hill today, I mean, you saw the first game they played, the Astros won 8-4, I believe it was. And then Rich Hill, he last 5 innings, his first outing against Cincinnati, gave up 3 earned runs. Lasted 4 innings against Chicago, 7 earned runs, 3 homers, only got 1 strikeout. So give me the Astros here and a little bit of cool that the Pirates are 7-4, but hey, man, we're a better team. Give me the
I
Astros.
prefer reporting too.
Tighter 5-3, by the way.
O'Neal Cruz broken
Um,
ankle, which I did see, but
Oh,
Brian
wow,
Reynolds
that's
on fire,
wow.
leading the majors in homers. Plus, they
That's
have
right,
Ryan
dude.
Hayes, McCutcheon back in the fold, so I think they will be just fine. Prefer Mitch Keller, Tony,
Yeah.
a guy you're familiar with.
Love Mitch Keller, but O'Neal Cruz,
Shortstop,
right?
gun.
Sliding to home run, sliding to plate,
Yes,
home plate,
yep,
right?
yep.
Bullpen clears, but it really wasn't the catcher's fault at all. I don't think. I mean, it was just like, I don't know, it was just like a tough play to have. And since we have all these comments here, let's we gotta get back here. We had a lot of comments actually. But first says my picks are 2-3 last night. Cubs and Giants for a kick butt. He says thanks for the help, Brian Barnaby. And then Matthew says, Tony, I dare you to pour that whole box of Joe on your head with no shirt on, which I will not be doing. That's ridiculous.
Obviously,
Maybe
don't want to ruin the spring collection.
Yeah, of course not. Well, he said no shirt on, so I won't order my jeans. But maybe if you double dare me, I'll think about it. Manoa thinks he's a big bad talking all that smack about Garrett Cole and the Yanks. Now look at you.
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I mean he's a young player. I'm sure.
No, he's a great pitcher,
Yeah,
but
he
it's
really
like
is.
like him and Vladdy going after the Yankees, not the right move.
I mean,
I'm sorry,
who
it's
else
just
you gonna
not
go after?
accomplish something first, then do that. But you haven't, so that's it.
That's
it. I don't want to hear anything.
And then Before says I'm picking Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and Cubs tonight.
Like, do you think that joke gets old after a while? Bless you.
Thank you. Honestly, it doesn't really get old for me.
Oh, stop.
Oh, and then Matthew says, "What are you looking at, Brian?" It says bloody murder, and then he says, "Tony, we should sign up for T-ball." Do they have T-ball leagues around here for adults?
I don't.
There's no
believe
way.
so.
Dude.
I do not believe so.
But moving on.
You said you were taking Houston, right?
Yeah, easily.
And I'm gonna go with your boy Spencer
Strider.
Strider, matched up against Cincinnati Reds and Hunter Green. Top prospect, struggled early on, and I think it's just a tough matchup for him going up against Atlanta. Matt Olson's been hot to start. We know about Austin Riley and Acuna. I think they're going to chase Green early, so another tough start for him. Strider will strike out 12 over 6. Braves breeze to a 10-2 victory.
Love it, dude. Are we going? Was that 3?
That was 3. Yep,
So we're going 3.
that's it.
All right, that's it. Just like that.
Just like that.
So we're tied. You said we're tied?
We're tied. Yeah.
Wow, dude.
So very competitive. Got a long way to go, of course, but nothing like baseball. And I think this is going to be one of those days where things go both of our ways, setting up for a great show tomorrow, Tony. So
Hell yeah,
obviously,
dude.
We're excited about that. But
Hey, when's that meet and greet with Cashman? And,
Monday.
It's Monday.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So Sunday we'll be talking about
right,
it.
So quite the stretch. And just to recap this again, so we got Yankee game Friday, show at the Horseshoe Sunday, meet and greet with Cashman.
Oh my gosh.
And Boone on Monday. Then we have the following week is the Baltimore Suite. And then the week after that, just for the weekend, North Carolina.
That's ridiculous, Brian.
What a time to be alive. Plus Pound Ridge Golf Club tomorrow, Tony.
That's awesome. Wow, you're gonna have so much to talk about on Sunday. Previewing the meet and greet, recapping the game.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be sick.
And I think by the time we go live, we will basically have a champion at RBC Heritage.
Oh, that's right, dude. Wow.
So an interesting spot.
I gotta
for
make sure
sure.
I definitely gotta get some hours in watching during the day.
Yeah.
Tournament Saturday, bus ride, watching on my phone.
Plus, it'll be on, for the setup too.
Oh yeah.
Beforehand.
Of
So
course, dude.
and I would imagine Yankees and Mets have day games too.
On
so
Sunday,
maybe we'll see the tail end of those depending on the duration.
Looks like
while we're
the
setting up.
Yankees are playing the Twins at 1:35. The Mets
Are always a 4-10er, right?
4:07.
Why do they go 4:00 weekend games? Is that a Steve Cohen thing, or they always did that?
They always did that.
Okay.
Yeah, they always did. But
Yankees,
honestly, I like
never
that
go
because
4:00.
honestly, we'll be catching probably
The whole Mets game.
well,
Like, while you're setting
when we
up,
start, we'll
of the
probably
game,
catch the ninth inning,
give a live
dude.
update.
8th
Yeah.
and 9th inning, perhaps.
So
dude.
good stuff. One last order of business. Let's go to the world of the National Basketball Association.
Oh,
The Bulls LeBron James at the buzzer. He banks in the three, and the Lakers win the game.
Michael, Matthew, Tony will tell you one of the first things I said when I walked in the studio this morning that I had to take you to task on LeBron, the Lakers, and really just my whole gripe is here. Well, first before we get to that, it was an interesting game between the Timberwolves and the Lakers last night. T-Wolves got off to a good start. They led 28-22 after the first quarter. And they actually extended their lead to 11 at the half. So, Lakers down by 11 going into the third quarter, cut the deficit to 7, and then are able to, tie the game at the end of regulation to go to overtime. Unfortunate foul situation. Lakers had it in the bag, but Anthony Davis commits a foul, maybe 0.1 left. And then the T-Wolves make all 3 free throws. I think Mike Conley followed him on a 3-point attempt, sent it to overtime. And then the Lakers are able to outscore Minnesota by 6 in OT for a 108-102 victory. So they will be playing the Memphis Grizzlies game 1 in Memphis on Sunday, setting up an interesting series and really concluding. I don't know if you want to consider this regular season playoffs, whatever you want to say, but a really good run here. And actually, since the trading deadline, Lakers had the best record in the NBA. So really rebounding after a 2-10 start. And of course, who else but LeBron leading the way here? 30 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. AD was a monster, 24 points, 15 boards, 10 and 19 from the floor. And the Lakers actually hit 10 3-pointers, 3 from LeBron, 1 from Reeves, 2 from Hachimura, 3 from Dennis Schroeder, who really played a really good game here because D'Angelo Russell, for whatever reason, distributed the ball well, 8 assists, but only shot 1 of 9 from the floor. And I guess, we'll see what happens against Memphis. I think that presents a good opportunity for the Lakers versus if they had to play Denver. I think the Jokic matchup would be tough, but I think they can kind of, get pretty physical, with Memphis and really they'll have to, do a good job in locking down Ja. But I think other than that, I think they have the advantage, especially after these guys, with length that they brought in, like Hachimura, like Jordan Vanderbilt, like Malik Beasley, plus the fact that Mo Bamba should be back. They just signed Tristan Thompson. We know about, obviously, all of LeBron's chemistry with him. But all of that being said, I just think the LeBron slander, Tony, is just ridiculous.
I will say before we go any further here, the phone line is open to Matthew and to Michael, wherever they are, to have some type of say in this, just in this conversation here.
And I know for the most part, they definitely have always, lauded, LeBron's play, the ability. I know they recognize that, but sometimes, there is the whole finals record is brought up, not beating Dallas in that NBA finals back in 2011. But, and somebody was saying something negative on Twitter and I commented back, but clearly the body of work speaks for itself. So I just think when it comes to negativity, there's really no reason for it. And even watching the game last night, the burst that he still has at 38 years old, I know that I've never seen that before. Going through the lane, dunking over people, It really is remarkable what he's been able to do. But I just think that I know the big thing that comes up with, them having a problem with LeBron is the whole China situation. And I just think that it's ridiculous to pinpoint it on him, Tony, because it's like, if they're basically without that link and them being involved, there would be no NBA. So what are we just going to hate every player in the NBA? It just, I think to just pinpoint it on him is just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, right? How could it just be just him? Honestly, why is it just his fault? Nike, basketballs, TV money, revenue.
Yeah,
you know
but
what
see,
I mean?
I don't,
Why is it him? Why is
I
it
don't
on
think
him?
it's as much as, and I could be wrong. I'm not trying to speak for
Yeah.
Michael or anyone, but I want to say like how maybe I think Michael is thinking is that LeBron is being a talented player such as himself.
Yep.
If he were to speak out against what the NBA
But who's
is doing.
speaking out? Nobody is. So
No,
why are we holding him against
There
him?
was that dude on the Celtics, right?
Yeah, where is he?
That's what I mean. But obviously someone
But you know what I mean?
like someone of
Come on, what does he need to win a Nobel Peace Prize, Tony? I
No,
mean,
no,
I
no,
just
no.
think
Obviously not. But I'm just saying, like that's the only thing I could think of. It's like same deal with I guess with kind of like Live Tour, like the golfers went to that to Live Tour and they spoke out against the PGA Tour, whatever. And now look where they are. Yeah, they're playing fucking golf that no one's watching, but it's for making a point,
Yeah.
And I would think like if a player of his stature, just like we were saying too, the PGA, I'm sure they would want Koepka back on tour if they could get him. That's probably how the NBA would feel if LeBron started speaking out against certain things that were going on behind closed doors and whatnot. They're not gonna. He is the face of the NBA. Like they're not gonna fire him. Like
but it's just it's just one of those things. I think we just can't hold him to that. And I think just as a society in general, there's a lot of contradiction. And actually, speaking of what you said with Liv, it's Saudi Arabia is a sponsor for certain things with the PGA Tour, Tony. You know what I mean?
I know.
You can't pick and choose. And like I said, it's not LeBron's responsibility to stop that. So to really dislike him over that, I just think it's ridiculous. Like I said, there'd be nobody left in the NBA. So I just think that, I know whatever the stuff that, China's doing, whatever, all of that stuff is like, and I know that bad stuff's going on, all of that. I get all of that, but I just think to just pin it on him just isn't right. And to take away from accomplishments, take away from the player he is and have this general distaste, I don't know. I just think it's just not fair. That's basically my point here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really have, I didn't come prepared for this, so.
You did?
No. I don't like.
No, again, I don't know. I just think they should be separated. That's all. You know what I mean? You want to talk about business and where money's coming from, all that stuff. They should just be separate.
I'm all for the separation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Because that's why we don't, usually talk about something like that.
Right. But I also just don't like LeBron as a player in general.
Why though?
Because I think it's the attitude. It really is.
But what specifically? What's an example of that?
The whole, I forget what year it was, but when he was cramping on the court, getting carried off, the ankle injury, when he's jumping and running up and down courtside with a bad ankle, he's not playing, and it's like, what are you doing? Bad ankle doesn't look that bad. It looks like
we have a
weren't gonna play. The crybaby to the refs all the time. I just feel like Before says Le China James, and then Before also says Mike's not here. NBA talk won't be too long. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, I can't. Not that I can't talk NBA. I just don't know as much.
Yeah,
but just again, in my experience, I just feel like he's too much. Runs his mouth a lot, and you hear him talk, and it like he puts himself again, like to keep it to the sports. Like you hear him talking in post game conferences, and it's just I don't know, dude. It just seems like he's not a great team player. Like if I was on his team, it just seems like I really would. It'd be more like stay out of LeBron's way rather than let's try and work with him. And that's the vibe I get from him on a team.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I would say to that is, he's won with a bunch of different groups of players. So clearly, he's doing something right. And I could see, from someone who's around, that type of level of player, it would be annoying to play with him. But I just think track record speaks for himself. And, playing with someone like him, we talk about the court vision all the time. I don't know if people could put their egos aside. I mean, I think he can win with a lot of different people, and we've seen him do it with AD. We've seen him do it with Kyrie, Kevin Love, obviously D Wade and Bosh. So there's been a lot of different, groups of people that he's been able to win with. So that's just what I've, just thought of, and I think it just, and also just to continue what he's doing now, and I just feel like because of other reasons. It just doesn't get talked enough about what he's doing now, how amazing it is when you're 38 years old to average 28.9, 8.3 rebounds, and 6.8 assists.
No, yeah, I listen, the stats are there for sure, but I mean, is he going to win this year?
I mean, they have a shot. I don't know. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they won round one.
Doesn't.
But like, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like he's the favorite. So it would just be,
right.
You add it, but you don't take away from it. If, obviously, if they get swept, you might have a negative connotation.
When he came back to Cleveland after Miami, was Cleveland favorited to be like, oh, they're going to be the winner?
When he came back to Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, LeBron got Cleveland. Like that's it. They're going to win.
Well, because Kyrie, and then you trade for Kevin Love. They had
Right.
Andrew Wiggins, but they traded him for Kevin Love. So yeah, they were expected. Obviously, they went to 4 straight finals. They won one and could have won a second the third year, but you had J.R. Smith. Forget what the score was.
What the time, the score.
We'll never see something like that again.
That was pretty preposterous, dude.
Yeah. So I hope it's interesting. I enjoyed watching some of it. Couldn't get through the whole game. I mean, starting after 10, it's just bless you. It's a tough ask. And unfortunately, most of their games during the week, I think, will be like that because they're playing in the Western Conference. Obviously, their home games are in Los Angeles, but we'll try to catch what we can. And I think, it'll be a competitive series against Memphis. I think it is important to steal game one, kind of set the tone. We'll see what happens. And then, the other game, to me and Michael's surprise, we did have, the Hawks defeating the Heat last night. So they get the first round matchup with the Celtics.
Jimmy Butler, dude.
Jimmy Butler. Kyle Lowry actually had 33 points, but the thing is
33 minutes too. It was pretty crazy.
And he was coming back from injury. So that was impressive stuff, but they just got into a hole early and, weren't able to rebound here.
Tyler here, I think, was like 10 for 24 or something like that. Like
down 24 at one point. They end up losing 105 to 116. So they'll play the winner of Chicago and Toronto tonight for that 8th seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. The other matchup, OKC versus New Orleans, and obviously Minnesota playing the winner of that matchup. So, playoffs will get started over the weekend.
Are you pumped for playoffs?
I mean, I think at least it makes, if there's a game on it, it's more attractive.
I think it was over the weekend. Just like, it's actually kind of annoying because I was trying to watch the Masters coverage in the morning. And it's like Sports Center at the Masters. So they talk some golf and they go into whatever else Sports Center has. And they were doing like an NBA, playoff picture. And actually, I think like the top few teams in the East were all jumbled and it was like still anyone's game, like down to the last sort of deal. So,
wow.
I mean, it looked kind of intense and interesting. So I just thought of you. Maybe Brian would be watching NBA, but maybe not, dude. How do you feel about Kyle Lowry?
Kyle Lowry, I mean, he's too old at this point. I mean, great career. Carved out Villanova. Obviously, we know all the winning that they've done over there.
Michael always said he was out of shape. He does look a little fat.
Yeah. No, I'll give you that.
No, I wouldn't say fat, but chubby, dude.
Well, we know the abilities there.
Yeah.
Mets lineup is out. I don't have it in front of me, but I just see because I'm looking at fantasy here. Alvarez not in the lineup after the 3 strikeouts yesterday.
No, dude. Looking at the lineup right now, courtesy of the MLB app, which I rarely use anymore, by the way, because it's just clunky and slow. A little tight, dude. Looks like you mentioned we have Nimmo leading off. Marte, who had a great bunt, by the way, down the first base line yesterday and was able to, reach on first. Nimmo went to second. Great job there. So I love that in 2-hole. Lindor at third, Alonso at fourth. Kana batting 5th in left field. McNeil 6th. Tommy Pham moved back to the DH spot at 7th. Escobar at your third base spot, batting 8th, and then Nito, who is your starting catcher, will be the 9th batter.
There you go.
Who I believe did pinch hit for, I want to say Escobar last night, got a hit.
Escobar.
And then-
111, I think he's sitting this year.
Yeah, and then Lacastro came in, pinch run, stole second base. So that dude, pretty good moves there.
Yeah.
Just couldn't bring him home. So let's try to do that tonight. You want to talk baseball for another half hour?
I was just watching
Yankees starting lineup.
Yankees starting lineup. Volpe at the top. We haven't seen that too much.
Wow.
So we got Volpe, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Cordero. So Frenchie getting 2 starts in a row.
Love it.
Cabrera, Kiner Falefa at third, Higgy behind the plate, and Aaron Hicks bringing up the rear, batting 9th. So 2 straight starts for Hicks, 2 straight starts for Cordero. And then a bottom 3 average wise 0.067, 0.100, 0.200 between IKF, Higgy, and Hicks.
Can Cordero play the field?
Cordero, yeah, he could play right, he could play left. He's starting in left today. Stanton right.
Is he good?
I think he's just, average.
Yeah, average.
But hey, I mean, 3 homers, 10 RBIs. That was a big 3-run homer yesterday to really open things up,
Matt Carpenter, by the way, not having a good time.
So I knew it was
Padres,
over.
dude.
I knew it was. It's such a shame, and I really wonder if he didn't follow the ball off his foot.
Yeah, how different it would have been.
Yeah, I mean, what do you honestly? You think eventually, obviously, he would have.
Honestly, I think he would have kept playing really well, and I think it would have been a big question mark if he stays with the Yankees. He had a nice dinger, I think, to start off the season, but he had the golden sombrero, I think, 2 games, the first game against the Mets, and honestly, that injury, it was almost like a little bit reminiscent of when Yelich got injured. I want to say 3 years ago, when the Brewers were making a push for the playoffs. And he was leading the way. Like, he was batting really well. He was looking like getting back to old, like vintage Yelich. And then foul ball to the kneecap, broke his kneecap, out for the season. Brewers couldn't win. I think they were in the wild card. Blew it without him, and then he was out for, and then he came back and then he sucked again. So
yeah, Jermaine Dye as well, way back.
Yeah.
You used to be a Jermaine Dye guy?
Yeah,
You remember him though, honestly, or no?
Vaguely.
White Sox, A's.
What years?
Like mid to early 2000s, probably retired in like 2010. Came up with the Royals. And I think he won the World Series with the White Sox.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
Burley. I know, obviously, Mark Burley.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. Maybe I have to do some more research on him.
Bobby Jenks, Tony. Do you remember him? The closer?
yeah.
Big boy.
Dude, how could you not? Yeah.
Wow. Talk about throwbacks. Another comment here.
Wow. Coming in kind of at the buzzer here. When is the next screen time? That is going to be on Friday.
Do we have a subject matter, or is that TBD?
TBD. I'll be talking with Jay. I believe Manny's out for the week, so it'll be Jay and I, possibly Mike as well. So that'll be a good time. Obviously, no screen time yesterday. Power Plumbers, taking priority, obviously, top of the list, dude. And my name over Power Plumbers, by the way, Trailer Prefer is out on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out, watch it.
Teaser.
Trailer and teaser. You can watch them both, honestly, back to back. Simultaneously. Open up 2 tabs, 2 screens, 1 screen, 2 tabs, whatever you want, dude. But Prefer is check it out, share it. Love it, like it. I think it's a great trailer, a great teaser too. We worked a lot on it. The collaboration, the effort, the overall intensity, it's all there. You can see it, dude.
And also, I mean, how excited are you for Sunday, Tony?
Dude, Sportsport at the Horseshoe. I mean, I think it's going to be super like legendary, dude. It's going to be, and then they're keeping the menu open, the bars open, the drinks, the people are going to be there. We're going to have some nice fan interaction, some good talk. I'm looking forward to like we can go into some, it's Sunday, dude. We can do in-depth breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
And we got a lot of commits already. My family, Sam's family, a couple of my friends.
Oh, wow, dude!
Excited for that. Obviously, the locals
families,
there, plus
dude.
Some other people we know.
Gotta be in your best behavior, Brian.
As always, Tony. Wait, so I know I asked this before, but normally, what time do they normally close on Sunday?
I have no idea.
But I would imagine
5, 6.
Oh, really? Okay. I was thinking, okay, so really they're usually not open Sunday night, even just the bar.
I don't think so. I don't know. Renee, would
Okay.
you know? No, we can. I'm sure
Hours of operation.
We can talk about it, dude. Yeah. Check their website, dude.
Let me just see here. So Horseshoe, Southport. Okay, so normally they are open till 2 a.m. on Sunday. So it's just the kitchen that usually closes early, but they're keeping it open. That's what it is.
Interesting. 2 a.m. on Sunday, really?
Yeah.
Let's
I mean,
try-
unless Google, they haven't updated their Google My
it's
Business
possible.
listing. But that's gonna be so fun. I
yeah.
love the live shows, and maybe Buffer will stop it. I mean, I think New York is a stone's throw from Southport.
Yes, and
Tony.
you know what? Before you complain about the no NBA segment, come right in. You can have
Yeah,
whatever you want.
come on the
dude.
panel.
Come on the panel.
and
Call in
talk
whatever,
NBA.
dude. Yeah.
Take me to task. Yeah, so that's so exciting. I can't wait. And the tradition is beginning. You can definitely feel it. That is for sure. But other than that, Tony, I know I had a weird face there, but whatever.
Spring collection, let's go, baby. Fresh new tie-dye for the summer and the spring, dude. Black and white, keeping it cool, professional, but fun.
Could you give the fans one other item that you would recommend buying on the spring collection?
Honestly, on the spring collection, I did get the athletic pants, actually.
Pants, okay.
Which are great. Tapered ankles, so they're tight to the ankle. Love to see that. No, I hate when sweatpants and rain pants and athletic pants are too long and they get on your on your shoe and you're stepping on them and shit. So love that. Great material, loose, breathable, a little bit water resistant, I would say. Zipper pockets as well, so nothing falls out. Those are great pants, dude. I would say for the spring, nice cool night. Also, the hoodies are great. The stitching on the hoodies, fucking phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, so definitely check
all good.
Of that out. As well as the archives on the YouTube page, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers trailer, the teasers, almost got through that unflawed. As well as all of our episodes of Screen Time, Sportsport, The Dream is Free, Gaming Corner, all of our vlogs. You definitely want to check that out. Spread the word, and definitely let us know what you'd like to see from us. Anything different you'd like us to bring. We love to hear from you guys. And thank you for continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. We want everybody to enjoy their day, enjoy the games. Let's go Yankees, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.